Hello Polytopians! Today I have a replay review of my first ever pro game in the Poly Champions Discord. In this game you will see some aggressive plays competing for ruins, slow down stalemates and how to break those, and even how Vengir can become incredibly rich using markets. A huge shout out to all of the players in this game, Vengir, my teammate Peebus, Hudrick being just me too late, and Imperius being played by Lucas the Best. I am playing Barter in this game. Now before I forget, if you would just like and subscribe, that would be amazing. My goal is to reach 500 subscribers soon, and you can help me reach that. Now without further ado, let's see what's cooking.
Alright, so we are in this game now, and we are going to look at what these great moves are. So we have quite an interesting matchup. As I said before, I am playing Barter here, and I have a corner spawn, which is very nice. My teammate here is playing Vengir, and they have a... let's see what their spawn looks like. They have two animals, nothing too spectacular, especially for Vengir. And our opponents here, one of them is playing Hudrick, and they have a whole bunch of animals, so they can go the economy route quite easily. And our other opponent here is playing Imperius, which is going to be our main opponent during the game. Looking at the distribution of these villages, I think that it is quite well balanced. Our spawns are not too weird. The only thing that really is going to show is that the ruins are mostly on our side, and they're going to play quite a substantial role because, well, these two seem to be very close to me. This one's close to Imperius, this one's closer to them, this one's very close to Vengir, as well as these two. They are not going to be grabbed by our opponents. So that's going to be quite a substantial factor in this game. But without further rambling, let's see how we are going to play out. Some standard stuff, nothing too spectacular. Obviously we both have corner spawns, so that is really overpowered. And they are going to be nerfed in the new update. The new beta. Wait, did they just... what did they just do? Yeah. Oh, it didn't show. Okay, yeah, I'm going to let the first couple of turns play out. Nothing too spectacular here. Imperius does get to upgrade their city again, which is an interesting move. Usually you train another warrior in this case on turn 0, but I think that that is an interesting choice, and it's going to snowball from here. That their expansion is just a teensy tiny bit slower than ours. That's a lucky find. Vengir got to hit Hudrick's archer, which they are probably or not going to be able to kill. And this warrior here is on its own, and it needs to go and expand. Whereas the double swordsman spawn of my teammate Peebus, he wanted to YOLO it, and I was like, dude, I'm all in. It's all good to me. Wait, what? What did Jay... what? I make moves, and then... oh! Did they just skip that turn? Am I missing anything? Nope, they just did nothing. That can't be right. That just can't be right. I have no clue why they did that. That is hilarious. Anyhow. Yeah, they get a workshop. And I think my teammate here saw a way to get an unbreakable siege on the capital, and that was just a real bummer. Um, Possibly could have ended the game right there, but I mean, we still got a very interesting game, so I'm just going to show that still. I got Org here. I think that this is my first Explorer. Oh no, this is a workshop still. Huh. Here they don't skip their turn. I think that this was just a real bad misplay on their part. Honestly, just hilarious. Why would you skip your turn? They got riding. They really went with riding very early on. Because, well, this village looks like it can be upgraded with just the fruits. Which I don't... You know, I don't think that that's particularly wrong. May have been better to go with farming before and not skip your turn. But other than that, I think that is a solid choice. Here we train, yeah. We wanted to go for the center village as fast as we could so that we can basically cut off this entire section of the map, so at least we have like half of the villages. Here's something strange. I go with forestry. Forestry was... we discussed it for a bit, and looking at my tech tree, I could have gone with riding, but the thing is, riding in this case didn't seem too great because of all of these forests. So we decided to just keep training warriors and just go from there. This is my first explorer, and it is a great explorer. It reveals my opponent as well as my teammate, which allows me to even upgrade my city another time. And look at this economy. I'm at the end of turn 4, I have 10 stars per turn, which is incredible. Just incredible. And then compare that to the 4 stars for Vangir, which is quite standard. 4 stars for Hudrick and 6 stars for Imperius. That is nothing to laugh at. Imperius here goes with roads. Now that is way too aggressive. And this explorer, we were wondering where this explorer went, and it just didn't reveal us. That is huge. That makes a huge difference because these early stars are just so incredibly important for snowballing your economy. And that's just something that I didn't have the luck to get. Peeping around. Yeah, here I go with riding finally. You can also see that, you know, there's quite a difference between Imperius and me. Because, well, these two tribes should be almost equal, especially on dry lands. Maybe Barter is a bit stronger. But usually I'd say that these tribes should basically counteract each other, whereas these tribes should also counteract each other. And that got us into a very interesting game here, where basically we needed to get an advantage as early as possible, and from there we really had to think out of the box to get a strategy going that was going to somehow make sure that we could keep our advantage and keep pressing the enemy. They were so aggressive with these roads. Really interesting strategy. Fascinating. Warrior, yeah, that makes sense. Go with the resources. Always nice to have a couple of riders on backup. Especially, I don't think if I saw this ruin already, but I definitely do see this ruin already. So there's going to be a lot of fighting before this ruin. You'll get to see that in a bit, and it's really going to define how the rest of the game is going to shape out. And it's really interesting. They get hunting from a ruin, which is really nice for them. Yeah, they go with a workshop here, even though, let's turn this off. Even though they have no vision whatsoever, so they better should have gone with Explorer in my opinion. And then they don't upgrade this. Yeah, they really bottleneck themselves on stars because they rushed Rider Roads way too quickly. And I think that is especially one of the mistakes that our opponent made here, is that they were so focused on expanding that their economy was just lacking. Just me too late, goes with the economy row. Go for the workshop. We get climbing. That was an interesting choice because there was 2 ruins and that was just especially worth it to go for. Not even knowing that there was another ruin here, and well, we will get to see whether or not climbing is useful. Here, finally at the start of turn 7 I get roads. And I get an explorer that is just going the right way again. And I'm going to turn this on again. It really gave me, especially with the other explorer combined, gave me a whole bunch of vision that they didn't know that we had. It even revealed that there's 2 unclaimed villages. And yeah, we can also now go for these ruins. Upgrade that city. And here comes a little bit of a standstill. Everything is just going to come to a halt for a little bit. Here we see that there's going to be a tremendous fight for that ruin. Going to turn off the fog again because that's just incredibly unhandy. Good resources, yeah. This all makes sense. You know, I don't usually play Hoodrick, but when you do, you really need to find a way to tax your opponent into fighting you, because you can get the value from fighting, and in the meantime you really want to slowly expand the other way while still pressuring your opponent. And that's what they did beautifully with these archers. Really nice plan here of them to keep pressuring this central village, and from there they could easily push through to our capital here. I mean, my capital was very well defended at this point, but Wenger was not too great of a shape for that. And yeah. Riding, we get farming ruin, which is talking about being useless. You know, a farming ruin for Bardor is just not too useful because there's just almost none. Especially if you look at our terrain here. This is Wenger terrain. Wenger has quite a lot of farmlands, but that was just kind of useful in the end, even though it really shouldn't. Still, look at the economy difference. 20 stars per turn at the end of turn 8 is not bad. Also, a quick reminder that embassies were technically banned in this game. So that is one of the most important economic features of team gameplay. This is really still so interesting to me. Why did Imperius just keep trying to push for this ruin where I could easily get advantage, because I was still expanding, and they were just not. They were just sacrificing their riders for it, which is not a great idea, I would say. They still get a workshop. That's so weird to me. How do you keep picking workshops if you have a city that is... I mean, okay, it would go here, and from there it could reveal either me or my teammate. So that is really strange to me that they kept going for a workshop. Okay, I don't have much to say about Hudric's perspective. They executed their plan really quite well. I think that most of the mistakes were from this side of the game, especially if you skip your own turn, you know, that is really not a good plan. Also, they moved over here instead of going for the village to meet their teammate. I don't know whether or not that was correct. Probably should have met them one turn later. That would be fine. Get the veteran swordsman. Forestry and roads. Pre-capture. Really nice. Get a bunch of stars. Finally start cooking up the economy for Vangir. Here I start connecting up my cities. And look at the economy. It's just great. I didn't have to do much to put pressure on my opponent here. I just wanted to block them and get them off of that ruin. Which, you know, was just really easy to do. They did a great job at trying to block me off here. That is really well done. Not gonna lie, they did that fantastically. Here they get their first giant. They are gianting before us, which is a bit scary. But they are so aggressive in the sense that they were sacrificing units for a ruin, as well as they are trying to now do the same for a village, which is not too great. Yeah, they see the ruins. That was hilarious. They were like, wow, are all of the ruins on our side? And they basically are. Yeah, we can unsiege. I did make a small mistake in one of my unit placements. Nothing too spectacular. Here I get my giant up. Oh, I did something, yeah. It was kind of a strange move. Got another giant. Upgraded that city. And then did a whole bunch of crazy stuff. that was 31 stars per turn at the end of turn 10 is, you know, for a 2v2 or like a competitive game, that is hilarious compared to 9 stars per turn and 14 stars per turn and, as you'll see, 19 stars per turn. I'm really just playing the capitalist approach, you know? It's really working. And they can't... We finally won the battle for this ruin. Wouldn't it be hilarious if that ruin were to give us fishing? That would be so hilarious. We did now. They get strategy and diplomacy here. That is really interesting, and they, I believe, is it this turn? Oh no, never mind. Oh, they sent a peace treaty here. That is interesting. You'll see that we don't go for a peace treaty uh, because there's particular reasons not to. But you'll see, you'll see. Resources, and here we start really countering the stupid wall of archers that they were placing. We get construction. Yeah, that was this thing, you know. First you get farming, and then you get construction. And you know, sometimes you can't throw 6 with your dice, you know. Yay! Peace treaty. Okay, yeah, some interesting stuff. They get their second giant up, but still they are lacking in stars. They can't compensate my huge economy at the moment, at least yet. Yeah, oh, this is something that happened as well. Technically, embassies were banned, but apparently our opponents really forgot. And I can give you a reason why. This game took us 3 months to complete with all of the turn planning, as well as just not being able to play. And you know, you really have to put in the time if you want to get competitive, and sometimes you don't have the time for that, so you need to ask for an extension. That's why this video is taking so long to produce, you know. We get a veteran swordsman there as well. That was very funny. Vengir, the one tribe that start with swordmen, get a whole bunch of swordsmen. That's how the game works, right? I believe somewhere this turn we start thinking about, you know, we really need to start pressuring our opponents, and my teammate was a huge fan of that, especially since we had the upper hand. And then I was like, you know what? I have a different idea, and I'm going to explain it very slowly and carefully. My plan is that we are going to set up quite defensively instead of being incredibly aggressive, which was my teammate's point of interest. Just going to get a whole bunch of giants and then do nothing. Imperius here gets catapult. They see what's coming. They can see that there's going to be either we are going to be in the offensive or they are trying to, but we can't break through each other at the moment. There's going to be a stalemate. So this was really a start of the point where I started thinking, you know what? We don't need to be aggressive too much. We can wait until there's a hole in the defense. And all of these squishy units, they don't like getting chained by knights. We get a siege on their capital, really nice. Nothing too spectacular. Finger gets mining, chops a bit, train some units. I'm going to do some defensive work. Normally you would try to find a way to kill this catapult, or at least like get knights going to chain through this. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to save up. You know, I have the economy, I have already a decent large army, and from there we can somehow possibly do some great stuff. Okay, they go with the border growth, population growth, my bad. Giants, yeah, they see what's coming, so they are already finding a way to start making a whole bunch of giants so that they can slowly advance their army using catapults and giants, you can usually push through quite a lot of stuff if you do it correctly. And the only way to counter it really effectively is by using giants combined with knights. And they, in the post-game chat, they were like, you know, I really should have seen this coming, what was about to happen. And also, this is the point at which Wenger, my teammate, we had a plan now, because we were in the Stalemate, we have more than half of the cities, so we had a plan now, and it wasn't to put pressure on our opponent. No, no, no. We were going to use a little plan called capitalism. Another, this was hilarious. That's 3 veteran swordsmen for Wenger. And they were all in such bad positions as well. That is so terribly bad. Yep, they get their giant up. Because they had to. Well, there was another giant coming up here. And this is the start of something that you'll get to see. You might be thinking, why do you put your sawmill over here with a forge over there, and then that's just not making any sense to me. Well, our plan here was that Wenger, you know, there was not a bunch of pressure at the moment because they were in a defensive position, and we had the same here, but what was going to happen is, this was my master plan. I was going to just keep stalling into both of these guys' positions, maybe even get a bit aggressive with some knights. Well, my teammate was going to go for markets, because, well, they had mathematics and they had smithery. They only needed trade to basically get markets cooking. And that was just so incredibly great. Here I get Shiv. And I get my first knight up. And this took a lot of planning from my side, but you'll see what I mean with that. I might be able to put in a picture of my turn planning if I still have it. Yeah, they sacrificed their rider here, and they just barely get to see that we have a knight. And if there's something that you don't want to see when you have a whole bunch of squishy units with your teammate, is knights. We were just a bit earlier than they were with the knights. Yeah, teammate is still holding back. And here they go with trade. 24 stars per turn, up till 28 stars per turn. That's honestly just great. Yeah, I do some really interesting things here. I do a giant push. This turn took me probably an hour to even get started on the sequencing with all of these units that were going to be involved, because the plan was to basically lower the HP of this giant just enough so that I could come in with this knight and kill this catapult and possibly hit a giant here. That was the entire plan, and it took so long to get everything right, but as you can see, it really gives us a whole bunch of value. And there's one thing that I love in Polytopia, and that is getting value. And this chain as well, really great. really gave me control over the situation. And most people would now say, okay, so this is the time to strike. But that's not what's going to happen. Because I'm going to set in for a defensive position as well. Okay, they can counter by killing my giant. But, you know, we still got our value. And they start being aggressive with these giants here. But there's something you need to know about giants. And that is that without proper support, they are not that dangerous. Oh, here they see us. Yeah, they go with mathematics. That makes sense. Get another super unit. They finally captured the last village on the board. That is just frankly hilarious to me. At the end of turn 16, finally, each and every village has been captured. They couldn't even kill my knight. So that meant that we would be able to do some other funky stuff. We went with the capture here, at least a siege, because we knew that Hujek didn't have climbing, so we were forcing them to buy climbing. That was a really nice move. Yep, a whole bunch of things. Also, we saw that this there was a cloak and we killed it. So we knew that there was diplomacy going on. Yeah, we start slowly nibbling at their giants because the logic behind this was we have more cities, so we can make more giants. Whereas our opponent has fewer cities, so they should be going into defensive position, but they were placing them still quite offensively. So now we are going to go into a little stalemate, and we are going to set up our giants in a defensive line to basically make sure that they can't do the same to us because we have a bunch of squishy units as well. And just make sure that we can contain the problem that is Imperius. Yeah, they needed to get climbing for that siege. And yeah, everyone's just, they start spamming defenders here. And Imperius, I don't know why, but they trained a whole bunch of catapults in the back. Which they are going to need to roll all over to the front. Yep, here finally the markets start to pay off. Look at that economy. 41 stars per turn, that's even more than I do. Yep, we could kill that. We could kill that. And that was bye-bye 2 giants. And we had another great plan starting to come up here. And you'll get to see that in a couple of turns. Okay, yeah. They get some kills. And they start setting up the defensive catapult line here. Okay, yeah. You know, nothing too spectacular these turns. There's just a little bit of stalemate. And we see this cloak, of course. And we know that there's a cloak somewhere waddling around. We see it, and we get to, well, give it the business. Still, look at that economy. For Vengir to go economy like this, that is just awesome. Look at that. They have the strongest economy out of all of us now. That's just great. Oh, this is the one turn. Look at this. My teammate here was like, you know, you can do some you can do some aggressive stuff with the knight here, but it's not going to get value. And then I was like, hold up, I have a plan. And you see these units here? Even though they're some of my friends, there is also a whole bunch of knight value to be had. And I might even be able to get a siege on their capital with this one knight. So that's exactly what's going to happen. Is kill that, kill that, kill that, kill, 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 hit that. I did make a mistake of promoting too early. Otherwise they would not been able to unsiege that easily. But be honest, this is a great move. We now have not only Imperius but also Hudrick in a very defensive position, and we even are going to be able to start sieging their cities all over the place, which is just the hole in the defense that we really wanted to get. Yeah, I got mining here. Just to get another giant. Nothing too interesting over there. They can siege now. Yeah, but you can already see the writing on the wall. They are getting into a very defensive position, and they just don't have a bunch of units compared to what we have going on here. It's just over. And we were still discussing some of the plans that we had. The next move would be for me to go diplomacy and start using cloaks, or at least, no, Finger was going cloaks. At least one of us was going cloaks. And then I was going to chain through my teammates' cloak, through their daggers into this territory here. And that was going to be their doom. But yeah, we're going to siege their cities, and that was going to cost them a whole bunch of stars, and we were going to be able to keep doing that for the rest of the game.